I don't want you to join this meeting, but what we are doing is that we have started the recording. And a good feature is that you get the transcript as well on the left side, on the right side. You can always turn on that transcription, because in record and transcribe, you can just say, I want to hide the transcription, whatever. And then there's a chat message, of course, which you are not connect with. So we are all good, right? So what we are doing right now is that, I don't want to just keep it here. It will just be in the background. I don't want it to continue. But I'm hoping that it's a good recording. I'll just have to test it today, how my volume and everything goes. Maybe I need a mic or something. But anyhow, my voice is already very, sometimes it will become difficult for you guys to listen to that. Yeah. Oh, let's keep that. Yeah, whenever I'll share the screen, I'll share the screen. Right now, I'm not sharing the screen, but why not? It's a good idea. If I open up the same announcement or the same course, what we are talking about, it's course welcome message. And let me share my screen. And all good, right? So now we are actually into something serious, and we'll just switch on to this other device as well. But for the time being, let's start discussing this one. So we are all set. And again, it's a good thing that you will be getting the recordings as well, whatever quality is there, whatever type of there. But if you just get, a little bit of that one. So let's start talking about it. Welcome to Programming Dynamic Websites. Here's the question. I'll always ask a lots of questions, so be ready for the questions. So here's the question. Can you even tell me what are dynamic websites, by the way, what we are going to study? Servers. Yeah. Yeah. Servers. Servers. Okay, wonderful. Just servers or anything else? Frameworks. Frameworks. Wonderful. Anyone else of that? Yeah. Response. It responds. Okay, wonderful. So this is another answer. One answer was servers. One answer was a website that responds. Wonderful. Yeah. That has functionality. Okay, wonderful. This is that a website that has functionality. All good definitions. Anyone else? Yeah. Live website. Okay, wonderful. Live website. That's wonderful. Last answer from this side. Anyone? What's a dynamic website? Do you have any idea? Because what you made last semester for whole semester was not a dynamic website, for your information. Rather, it was something the opposite of it, a static website. Make sense? So what's a dynamic website then? Any answer? Last answer from this side? Do you feel something? Some people, they will answer that dynamic website means a website that has lots of animations, lots of things going here and there. That might be a right answer. I don't know. So I need answer. Correct or wrong, that's not a problem. Anyone else? Okay. Sorry? Functionality. Okay, wonderful. So now listen to this one. What is a dynamic website? Just let's start talking about that. Whatever website you made during 1925, the last semester, they were all static websites. Now, I'll give you a definition, like for both static and dynamic. I'll come to the dynamic first. Static website is a website that shows same contents to every user, regardless of their time, regardless of their ID, regardless of their weather, regardless of their location. It will be same always. Does that get you? The websites that you made in 1925, most of them, if you publish them, and I think you would have published them by the end of the day on Netlify, right? You published them on Netlify. I was also teaching the same course, 1925, to one of the section. Anyhow, so you published that website. And the website, if I open it right now, if I open it in the middle of the night, if I open it any of the time, it will always be same. Is that correct? If I make a website that is my resume over there, so whatever time I open it, I will always find the same content. Yes, after 2 months, I find that, okay, I want to change my picture. Now it looks very old. So after 2 months, I'll sit there and I'll update my website, and then people will see the updated content. But still, that requires a lot of effort after 2 months. It's not something that is updated automatically or, very frequently. Now, that is called a static website. Now, the definition that you can remember, a website that shows same contents to every user is a static website. That might contain a lot of animations, balls going from here and there, people are moving, videos are there. It's a static website still. Make sense, everyone? Because sometimes people start getting confused with the dynamic word, that animation or something. No, animation still can't make a website a dynamic website. Now let's talk about another environment. Do you know when we write www.facebook.com on our browser, we all get the same page? Do you know that? It's exactly the one page that we all get. When we write www.facebook.com in my machine, you write in your machine, everyone writes in any machine, you always get the same page. But what happens when I enter my ID and password? Do I get the same fields as yours? No, a big no. When I enter my ID and password, I get all different fields. And when you enter your ID and password, you all get different fields. Okay, so this is the same website showing different contents to different users. Is that right? Let's talk about another environment. Weather website. A weather website. You just go to the website and it will show you right now -8, whatever, right? In the middle of the night, you turn on that website, open that website, and you access it and you find out -30, -12. Is that changing frequently? Whenever the temperature changes, the website changes. Let's talk about another scenario. There's a hockey match going on right now in Waterloo, for example. And I'm really interested in hockey here. So I'll just go to the website. Whenever I access that, does it give me the updated score of that particular time? Is that yes or no? You understand? These are all dynamic websites. Can I say simple words? That shows different contents to different each user, every user. They will show always, almost all the time, they will show different contents to different users. Now, not only it does not, the story does not stop here. If it is showing me different contents, it means there will be some storage behind from where it brings data and shows it to me. Does that hit you? Think about an airline website, airline application that does not have a database behind. Can you imagine? There is an airline website, you go and you book your ticket, and then next time you come, they say we have no data. Why? Because we don't have a database. Isn't that funny? It's very seriously not funny. Why? Because they need to capture the data and they have to store that. Do you guys make sense of it? It means a dynamic website, necessarily or unnecessarily, most of the times, a website will be connected to a database. Does that hit all of you? Do you know what is a database? A very vague idea. Database is a place where we store our data, dump our data, and we extract data whenever we need that. A very vague idea. You'll be studying database courses, maybe one or the other. Does that make sense? So first of all, it has a database. Then there is one more thing. Someone said server. Someone was saying. Then a website. Look, this is very important, and it will come in our lecture as well. But I'm just trying to make you an appetizer for the topic. One website, when let's talk about the same scenario. My resume website. Whenever you say www.namanatik.com, server does not do any processing. It just takes out the website and throws back to you. Look at this. This is the website. Make sense? What about the hockey match website? When you access www.hockey.com, do you know that server does some processing over there? Because it has to go to the database and ask what is the current score right now. It will grab that score from there. It will prepare a web page and then it will send it back to me. Do you find difference between these two scenarios? First one is a static website. Second one is a dynamic one. Do you guys get it? There will be a server executing something. So it means my website needs to reside on a server somewhere, and on that server, my website will be there. People will come over there. When they will ask for the website, the server will do some processing, will go to the database, extract something, data or something out of it, prepare a website, and then will return that. Do you understand? That will be a dynamic website. Are you guys getting that one? So this very course, we are actually going to make dynamic websites. And when we are going to make dynamic websites, it means we are going to necessarily involve certain databases there as well. We are necessarily going to know how to set up our own server. Does that make sense? So this is, as I said, this is the continuation of your previous course. In previous course, you learned about HTML, you learned about CSS. Wonderful. HTML to structure out your document. CSS to give it a design, to give it a life, and you always had nice CSS things. And I'll just have a sum of repetition today, and I'll know that how much CSS you have done. So CSS, nice, coloring and everything, you can just go over there. But that's good. The website that you have made is very good, but you publish it, and again, wherever you publish it, you'll find always the same content in that one. Against that, if you will, after this course, when you will develop a website, that website will be a dynamic website. That website will have its own server. That website will have its own database. That website will be capable of handling different user requests. As someone was saying, interaction with the data. You think about it. You see a post on Facebook and you comment over there. Do you see that instantly or do you see that after 3 days? Instantly. It means that instantly it gets updated. Not only you should see that comment. 1 million people looking at their same website. Are they also able to see that instantly, that comment that you put in there over there? It's a dynamic website. It has a database going on behind and things like that. Does that make sense? So now we will be creating that type of websites. And for that, we need a very good solid standing of HTML and CSS that we discussed today. I'll have a quick recap of a lot of technologies, lot of things, and I'll see how much we are going. Okay, so my name is this. You should not be worried about my name too much. I'll be Professor This course. This course has been fully updated and you will be learning many up-to-date technology. This point I love about this one, this welcome message, because this welcome message is not from me, it's from one of the main course lead, Deman Gaddafi, who is our chairman as well. So he's just making all these changes. But I love this point. You know why? This course used to be very very sad course before. I taught it like 1 year back, and I was never really happy with the course outline. Now I am really very happy because they have introduced React in it. How many of you know React or heard about React? You know about the React? React is something you are going to love it, but you are going to love it only when you just understand the basic concepts. If you don't understand the basic concepts, you are going to hate React. Yeah.
So we're going to learn React the next JS.
Sorry?
So we're going to learn React.
Maybe next JS or maybe whatever, whatever technology we just include with that. Maybe next JS or, the others, whatever, But we have introduced React over here. Are you guys understanding that one? But once you learn React, then it's up to you that you can just combine it with anything. You might go with the Vite or we might go to the next JS, whatever, We'll just go with that one. So does that strike you guys? It's a very important course. We are going to study this all up-to-date technologies. And when say up-to-date technologies, they've introduced React in it. And I love about it. Like, this thing I love about this course, because this course used to be a very dry course before, not anymore. It's going to be a fun course. It's going to be a course that will always keep you on your toes, that we are learning something new on daily basis. And we are learning something that really industry is looking for. Like, you go to LinkedIn jobs, you go to Indeed, you go to whatever job sites and try to find out how many jobs you find full stack developer or React developer. Does that hit you? When you go to the job website and try to find out full stack developer. Who is a full stack developer? We'll talk about that. But right now, just understand, okay, it's something cool. But to be a full stack developer, you are taking very big giant step that will guide you towards the full stack developer. Do you know what I mean? So it's an interesting course. Now we'll have 2 sessions. Same. This one today, 1 p.m. 2B04, this one, and Friday 4 p.m. Day after tomorrow, we'll have the session in 3G04. For the first week, again, always just give me this liberty. Finding out the room is very difficult over here as well. So sometimes I'll take maybe 5-10 minutes and try, hovering around. But anyhow, so 3G04 is our class going to be. To be successful in this course, please attend all classes and make sure you practice as much as you can using the exercises. We'll provide that. So you feel comfortable with the concepts that we learn. I'll keep posting solutions for the exercise. You'll get the solution to the exercises later on as well. But first you'll have to solve that one. So this was the point that we have already discussed. Now, the summary. The summary is it's going to be a real fun course. We are going to study some of the latest and greatest technologies right now being used in industry. Not, as I said, not the old technologies that were discussed before, but now we are going to have, you are going to enjoy those technologies and we just, try talking about those technologies. So this is going to be our course. Now, with respect to instruction plan, which is not ready right now, I'll have to get it ready maybe before Friday, or maybe I'll get it ready. Sorry, where is the mouse? It's here. So maybe I'll get it ready before Friday, or before next week. It should be definitely ready. But here is a little glimpse of it. Here's a little glimpse of this course instruction plan, and that will. You were asking about Next.js or something. You will know that what we are going to discuss over here. Look at that. This course outline, which is not open for you, by the way. I'll open it once it is complete. Oh, sorry. That's good. That's wonderful. So I'll show you. And this is, by the way, right now not available for you. It will be available once it is completed. It's not completed. It's half baked. Let's see if it opens Excel today. It's opened. Okay. All right. So yes, I want your attention, please, over here. Look at that. So it's a very big, again, a very half-baked outline of instruction plan for the semester. It would be in very mature form very soon, right? That's why it's not shared with you. You can have a look at it and you can just, remember that what we're doing. So for week 1, this one that we'll talk about the introduction to course. We have already started a little bit. We'll set up our environment and you'll find a lot of setting ups that you will really like that. we'll talk about the variables, numbers, and operators. Now here comes the concept. I understand you guys have studied Python in first semester. Is that right? Python language. So coming from Python, coming to JavaScript will really be a shocker for a lot of people. They will say Python was very simple. I never needed a semicolon. I never needed these kind of stuff that you are teaching over here. But believe you me, it's going to be worth learning these syntax. And you know why I'm saying that? How many of you know about a language called C language? C language. Has someone heard about it? Okay. Those who have not heard about it, I'm telling you, it's generally considered as the mother of modern programming languages. C language, just C, right? And C language, when it was introduced, it actually discussed or it actually elaborated some of the structures of programming paradigm that most of the modern programming languages are now following that one. With the exception of Python. You know, Python is the exception out of it. Python does not follow the same family. But most of the modern programming languages, you name them. I think you are studying C# as well this semester in programming too. You will study C#, you'll find the same family. You study Java, same family. You study, a lot of other technologies, just name them. C++, they all belong to the same family. In general, C language introduced a programming environment, a paradigm that most of the languages strictly follow still. So it's grandmother of all the programming languages. It's a great grandmother of all the modern programming languages. Now, interestingly, the next point that I want to make, JavaScript is actually following that same syntax. So to start with, in the JavaScript as well as in your Visual Studio, like C# course, you might find it hard to just look for those semicolons and loop bodies and curly brackets and those things. They will start disturbing you. But if you remain patient and try to follow along, you will see that it's really worth it learning that syntax. Why? Because I told you, because most of the languages that you are going to study, they will follow that same family. Other than Python. Python has a syntax-free environment. You just write, just like you are talking to someone, right? Def something, function something, and you just keep on doing that. And you don't need any specific, makeup to just make for that particular programming. But C language and the JavaScript, they have a particular syntax, and it's worth learning syntax. And you will know that because when we'll be learning here, you'll be working in C# as well. You will see that your program just gets stuck somewhere and you have forgot one semicolon. And it will never allow you to run that one. You know what I mean? You might have just done that, but anyhow. So look at that. So in this week, we'll just talk about some of the basics of the JavaScript. And as I told you, it's worth learning that one, number one. Number two, we'll talk about conditional functions and we'll talk about the troubleshooting of that one from conditional and function. Conditional, when I say if, else, if, elif type of things that you did in Python. Remember? So we'll talk about how do we do that in C family, like JavaScript and all other families, right? We'll talk about that. Functions. Functions are the first class members of JavaScript family. They are very important in any of the programming language. But in JavaScript, they are the primary building block, the integral building block. So I'll tell you that how to write effective functions. And if you know the writing the good functions, you'll be very good in all other languages as well. Once you know the basics of that one. We'll talk about that. Then comes in array, loops, and strings. Does it give you arrays, the lists that you used to work in Python? You have with index number a list stored and you can access that with 0 index, 1 index, 2 index like that. You remember that one? That's the same thing over here. Now, then week 4, we'll talk about DOM. Anyone, what is DOM? Any idea? Someone who has worked already on DOM? Yeah.
DOM and BOM.
Sorry?
DOM and BOM.
DOM and BOM, okay.
And then
It's actually, DOM is document object model. And you know what is that? It's actually the communication between HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. When JavaScript will start talking to the HTML and CSS, we'll say DOM programming. It's called DOM programming. I'll talk about that, don't worry. But we'll talk about DOM. DOM is a very important and interesting programming. What we'll do is that we will have JavaScript code. I'll write JavaScript code. That code will go to my HTML, literally to my elements. And it will say, okay, H1 right now says welcome to the 1935, change it to welcome or this is the end of the course, for example, So what you're doing, you are asking JavaScript to talk to HTML and you are asking HTML to talk to JavaScript. That is called DOM programming. Does that make sense? Little bit, because I will give you the examples and we'll do that. So we'll talk about DOM programming. And then you have APIs and JSON. APIs and JSON. Think about it. If you get a project, if you get an assignment that you have to bring all the tweets of Justin Trudeau, for example, from X, you have to bring all the tweets. So what you will do, you will say, okay, I need something that will allow me to go to X, the Twitter, and just brings out the Twitter, like tweets of Justin Trudeau, for example. Are you just getting me? So the way of your website, how it will talk to the X website, like Twitter website, it's called an API in between. Does that make sense to everyone?
Communication between
The communication between two applications is its API is application programming interface. So it's actually communication between two applications. That might be one website, two websites. That might be one software that is interacting with something. Another example, I want you to just have a website, develop a website that shows the schedule, the complete schedule of the Conestoga classes, for example. So you'll say, okay, Raman, I'll start it this way. I need an API that will allow me to go to the Conestoga website and read the timetable. I'll read that. Is that making sense? I'll read that, I'll bring in my machine, and then I'll display it on my website. So you will say, I need an API to access that. Is that making sense? So again, it will be making very less sense, but we'll talk about that in details. Then we will have practice exercise, then we have return, then we have weekend. So this is the place where we start real thing. React intro and JSX. We'll talk about what is JSX. Events and conditional rendering, React display prompt. This is all React from this one. So you see that after midterm, we are going to jump into React. But believe you me, if we won't be doing these things properly, like this week 5. If you have done week 5 effectively, you will be very good to jump into React. If you have not done these week 5s, if we have not done these week 5s correctly, we will be really fearful of going into React because that requires a lot of understanding from the behind. Is that making sense to everyone? Yes. So if you are missing a class for some reason, we are human beings, we have so many things associated with it. If you're missing your class for any reason, try to get what we have discussed in that class. Somehow you are getting the recording as well. This will be, so you have got the recording, you'll get the notes and everything on your course shell. So be there and try to just get everything before coming into the next class. Otherwise, sometimes the link will be broken and you might feel strange when you come in next class and you say, what's going on? I don't know. You know what I mean? So try to get that. So this will start in the second part, we'll start React. And here Firebase and file storage are talking about the databases. We'll talk about in the end, we'll talk about the databases. So this is all a very generic course outline or instruction plan. Usually you will find an instruction plan, then you will get your assignment 1, what is the practice question, what are marking details. I'm not discussing them today. I'll discuss them in the coming classes, right? When it will be completed, you will get everything over there in one picture. Make sense to everyone? Any question? Yeah.
It says here that February 24th, from 24 to 28,
Yeah.
there's a success week.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's wonderful. So you see that the success week usually comes after 7. 8th week is usually our success week. And that's why I said this is not complete. Actually, this 8th week will be, maybe this 8th week will be empty. It would be success week, this 8th week. And then, of course, all of these will be pushed up. And when we write this content, it does not mean that we'll be taking whole week, for example, in a user stream. Maybe we'll be covering 2 parts in 1 week or something. But usually, this is the right. And you're right. This week 8 should be empty. It would be student success week. Don't worry. You will get your student success week. Don't worry. All those previous things, they will remain the same. But of course, as I said, this is not ready. When it will be ready, then you can just say, okay, where is the student success week? We have just been started. Good point. Good catch. All right. Anyone else? Any point? Are you excited to learn this course?
Yes.
Should be. And you will only be, same excited when you will try to follow along all the exercises and everything. Now, without wasting any more time, what I'll do is that I'd like to introduce you to some of the environment where we'll be working for our code. So I'll ask all of you to open your Visual Studio Code that you might have, everyone. Visual Studio Code, not Visual Studio. Visual Studio Code. Can you guys open that Visual Studio Code? And in Visual Studio Code, I would like all of you to just, you might be maintaining your own folders, what I'm doing, and I'll share this code by the end of the day with you. But I'm creating a folder, for example, and I say section 1. And in section 1, I'm creating a folder called week 1. So this is our week 1, right? So you might want to maintain your folders like this as well. It's up to you. So I'll open up this week 1 or section 1. So I'm in week 1 folder right now. Now, everyone has a folder with them. Try to follow along with me. Now, I'll start with some questions that I asked with other section as well, and I usually got a no. This is Visual Studio Code. Did you guys use this same Visual Studio Code for your PROG1, like 1925 as well?
Yeah.
The first course, wonderful. Question number 1. When I ask a question, please remember that I'm asking as a class you did this or not. Because they're an individual, they do a lot of wonderful things. I'm not asking any individual. For example, he's there and he has done everything over there, but it was not discussed in class. So he should be silent in that question. Do you know what I mean? So if something was discussed as a class, everyone has done that, I need a yes. And if you have done that, be silent, look for the others. If everyone says no, you are also no. Oh, you know what I mean? Because I want to have the feedback from everyone. Question number 1. Did you guys as a class install live server in your Visual Studio Code?
Yes.
As a class, yes?
No.
Okay. Again, you have taken me wrong. I'm just asking as a class, it was discussed that install this will help you this way. Okay. How many of you do not have live server installed? Can you raise your hand? Wonderful. That's wonderful. This is the real data. Now what happens if I hear from you and I'll start discussing? They will be all gone. They'll say, oh, what's going on? Okay. Number 2. How many of you know there is an extension called, again, as a class, Prettier? How many of you have used Prettier as a class? No, never heard that. You will really be blown away now today when we just do few things. And then, yesterday as well, they were just all blown away. They've just done web development and they said, why didn't we know this before already? But anyhow, so no Prettier, no live server as a class, right? Okay, let's start doing that. But first, I'll show you some interesting things before we practically start that. Because I want to set up the environment today for our work. Okay, first of all, let's do one thing. Create a new file, as you might know how to do that, and write index.html. I'm creating my first file, index.html, which is very obvious thing. You have done a lot of times, thousands of times. Index1.html. Everyone done that? Yes. Wonderful. Now listen to this one. Next point, next step. In this web page, let's type with me. And don't worry about that. I know you know more than me, but let's type with me. I type HTML like this. You know that you just need to write HTML, hit enter, and it becomes a tag element, right? I'll talk about that. You look at that. You just write head and hit enter, it becomes a tag, an element, whatever. In head, I'm creating a title, first dynamic page. Even though it won't be a dynamic page, I'm just making that. Okay. After head, you have to create body like that. Just write body and your element will be ready. Most of you will be irritating that why even you are doing that. There are automatic ways of creating the document. But you know why I'm doing that? Just to make you the basics of understand, Otherwise, there are automatic ways. And after 5 minutes, I'll be telling you so many ways that you will say that why even you discuss these things. But anyhow, so it's here. And now I want to write an H1 here. And I write first website, H1. And here, intentionally, I do something wrong. What? I make this code bad, really bad. Some spaces. Then I put a paragraph and I write this is some text here. And I make is also bad. And I make another P and I write this is another bad P. Right? And I made this code and hit save. All of you hit save. Okay, another question, very quick. Those who have personally done that. How many of you have Prettier installed here? And you're wonderful. You have 1, 2, only 2. Good. You have that wonderful. Yeah, wonderful. Now listen that. Other than these 3, 4 people who have Prettier installed into their machine, do you all see the ugly code as my code is the ugly? It looks very ugly, right? It looks very bad. First website and then H1 is going all the way over there. And then if you look at that, P is coming all the way at the down. And then this P is also very bad. This codes look really ugly. And it should be same for you guys as well. Everyone, most of you, exception of these 4 people. Now listen, next point. I want that whenever I write my JavaScript code or HTML code, it should become prettier by itself. I don't need to, there is one way that I go in every line and try to settle it. I can do that very simply, very easy. But I don't want to do that. I'm lazy enough. I want Visual Studio Code to help me. Now, point number 1, everyone should follow me along. Go to your view and extensions. Go to view and extensions. View and extensions. Here, all of you type prettier. Prettier. In extensions, I've searched prettier. Everyone, please do that. Got everyone?
Should we go with the first one?
Yeah, just step by step. Yeah, we should go that. You know, I'll go to that step. Right. Now, the first one, which is from prettier by itself, install it. Click on install. Everyone install it. When you install this, you will find disable, uninstall, everything over here. Of course, it's now ready for you. There is a very important step remaining still. Be with me. Done. Now, next step. Close this extension page. And now you can go to this setting gear or manage gear and go to settings from the manage gear settings. Control plus comma is also the shortcut, but I don't want to use the shortcut right now. Settings. All of you are in settings now? In settings, write with me, formatter. Just write formatter here. Formatter. Did you write formatter? Do you see multiple options? The first option is default formatter. I'll drop it down and I'll try to find the prettier from here. Look at that. Drop down the first option and select prettier, the one that we have just installed. Everyone is good? Selected prettier. Step number next. Look at that. Do you see that you will find some option at the bottom? I have one option that I want to set. I want to click on format on save. Can you click on that one? Format on save. I've left out the paste. Remember, don't worry about the paste. Save will do everything for us. Format on save. Have you checked that? Everyone? Very good. Now please follow along. Close the settings now. Close the settings and even close this one as well. Now come back here and let's add one more P or anything. Let's add one more P. This is another bad P. So we have, line of bad P's, whatever. And oh my God, it has become very bad. Okay, so this is another bad P, and where I will just introduce the spaces over here. Now look at that. This is another bad code, and now all of you hit save, Control S. All of you hit Control S. The magic, do you see that? What's the magic? Actually, our code has become prettier automatically. When you hit what? Save, Control S. Is that something very useful? You needed to know in the last semester as well. A lot of time when you are coding, your tags are going here and there, and you have to settle them by yourself. It's not my job. I'm very lazy. I have prettier for that. You know what I mean? So there are lots of extensions like this. Are you really, do you see that? And interestingly, but listen, prettier also gets annoyed with us because of some reasons, and I'll tell you. Right now, prettier is going fine. Whenever I add something, you see, I try to make it bad. And I make a lot of spaces, hello, whatever, and I make a lot of space. When I hit save, prettier says, don't worry, I'm there. I'll make your code look prettier. And you see that it's also here. But when does the prettier gets angry? And that's a very important point that I did not discuss last class as well. Now, if I make a mistake over here, for example, I have one P here, I forget the next P. Right? And for example, somehow I try to create some bad things over here. H in between and something like that. Now, do you guys see something very interesting? Look at that here. Do you see anger of prettier? You see, prettier is angry on you. You know what you have done? You have actually destroyed HTML. You see how bad it is. H1 is here. What is this H1? H1 cannot come inside P if you know the rules. H1 cannot come inside P. What is this H1? And maybe there is a P missing or there is something missing. What are you doing? You have destroyed. Whenever there will be error in your HTML, prettier will get annoyed. And you know how much to the level it will get annoyed like this. Look at that. If I do something like this and I hit save, I'm hitting save. What are you doing, prettier? Why don't you make my code prettier? You know why? Because you have made a horrible mistake. You have destroyed the syntax of HTML. Does that make sense? So keep in mind, if your prettier is not working, go and look at the bottom of your screen. Do you find red color? You say, okay, there is something seriously wrong that I've done. There is something seriously problem. You need to just find out. And I'll tell you how to find out. Sometimes you will say, okay, we have to find it by ourselves. What is the use of prettier? Prettier works just to make your code prettier. But the syntactical errors or the HTML errors, you need to keep a track of them. You know what I mean? I'll just tell you. Okay, first of all, if I remove this H1 from here, I remove this H1 from here and I hit save. Look at that. Now Prettier is happy and I get my code also. Is that making sense to everyone? So what is the point? If you copy and paste code from somewhere and your tags are here and there and they are just messed up, your Prettier will be annoyed. Prettier will not work. You need to just, very carefully look, okay, I have to just settle my code, then Prettier will work for me. Is that making sense to everyone? So Prettier is doing self-justified thing. This is first extension. Now I want to tell you about something else. Now save this. All of you save this and go to the folder where we have created this one. Let's go to the folder where I have created this. And where did I create that, by the way? I created that maybe in my users. Wherever you have created that, go to the folder. It should be here, I think. Yes, section 1. Look at that. Week 1. Do you see that when you go to the folder, you find your file over here? Everyone sees that? Index.html. And let's run this one. Double click on this. Double click on this. And I'll keep it on the left and keep my code on the right. Look at that. Is that making sense? You have code here and it is running. Wonderful. It's running wonderful. And this is very good, right? Now let's talk about something interesting. Look at my URL of this website. What does this URL say? C:\users and my name, section 1, week 1, index.html. Does it look like a website URL? No. It looks like my physical address of my machine. Now here comes a concept. Who will answer me? Do you know the concept of absolute URL and relative URL? Absolute and relative URL. Does anyone know the difference between absolute and relative URL? Absolute and relative URL. If you don't know, don't worry. I'm telling you. Just first of all, listen. This is called absolute address. Absolute URL. Absolute URL means it starts with C drive and ending at index.html. Accessing a website like this is an ugly idea. It's a bad idea. You know why? Because if I send you this folder, for example, and I have just taken the images also with this same path, will you be able to access my images? No, because it's in C drive and nothing in my drive. You know what I mean? So absolute URL or absolute path. Why it is absolute? Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but I think you mixed them both.
Mm-hmm.
This is it says that this is relative
Mm-hmm.
because it shows the path of your file.
Mm-hmm.
The absolute is the .com one.
Okay, can you just wait without looking at it? I'll come back to this here. Just keep it here, right? I'll discuss that. So he found out that maybe I'm just saying the reverse, and I'll talk about that one as well. So he says that. So now I'm just saying whenever it's starting from the C drive, going all the way to the file, I'm right now saying this is the absolute URL containing everything. What is the relative URL? I'll come to that and then we'll discuss his AI generated code because that's very interesting that he has generated. Now listen to this one. First of all, this does not look very pretty to that. And another thing, if you want to update this, how will you update that? You come here and put another P and say an update here, whatever. You hit save. You come here and you have to refresh that to see the output, right? To update the output, to get the updated output. That was the way you were mostly using this one. Most of you. Now listen, this is not a good idea. Never a good idea to run a website like this. Rather, what's a good idea to run a website? I'll tell you. Come to your Visual Studio Code and do something interesting here. Open up extensions again, extensions, and here write down live server. Live server. Write down live server. The first one, install it. Installed, everyone? Now see when you have this folder structure open, go and right click on index.html. The first point you will find is open with live server. Do you see that? Click on that one. Look at that. Now my website is running. And look at that, how it is running. 127.0.0.1 colon 5500. I don't know what is that. Slash index.html. Do you guys all see the same thing? It's basically doing what? It's actually doing what? It is basically providing us the URL. But can someone tell me what is this 127.0.0.1? Sorry? IP address of what? I'll tell you a little statement here. Sometimes you'll find on the techie people's shirt, you'll find a little line. There is no place on earth as 127.0.0.1. Have you seen that on the techie shirts? Sometimes you'll find them on the techie shirts, you know. There is no place on earth like 127.0.0.1. Can someone tell me about this? What does this statement say? Home. Home. We say there is no place on earth like my home. Is that right? Everyone says that, like my home. There is no place on earth other than that. Is that something you? So this 127.0.0.1 is basically called home address. It's called what? Home address. What is this? What does that mean? I want you to just listen to it very carefully. Do you know that websites always actually resides on the servers? Do you all know? Google has a big server, Facebook has a big server, they have all the servers, and our website actually resides there. And when we say www.google.com, we are client and we are trying to get something from the server. Is that correct? Make sense, everyone? Now listen. Right now, I have made my own machine, my own computer, a server, and I am myself accessing that website as a client. How many of you understand this one? This IP address, this address right now, 127.0.0.1, it actually represents my own machine's server address. Are you guys getting that one? I'm converting my own machine into a server. It has and what is IP address, by the way? Here's the point. The point comes, what is IP address? IP address is something through which you are recognized on internet. Does that make sense? You know, all of us right now connected to machines, we all have some IP address related to it. Then Conestoga does have IP address, and etc., etc., etc. Now, if I make my own machine as a server, is that making sense? Because you know, Google has its own server, Facebook has its own server. I want to make my own machine as a server. If I make my machine as a server, the address, the IP address that I get is basically this. It is called, as I said, home. First of all, it has multiple names, and try to remember that they are not written anywhere. It is also called localhost. More technical name, localhost. Does it strike you? I'll show you. This is called localhost. There's another name for that. It's called loopback address. It's called loopback address. Are you guys getting that one? What is happening? I have made my own machine as a server. So I have my content over there, and I am accessing as a client. I'm accessing my server, and where is the server? Server is my own machine. I've not published it anywhere. Are you guys getting that one? I feel the importance of showing you a little trick here. Do you know? If you open up your command prompt, and all of you who are on Windows, if you are on MacBook, tell me. So just write trace rt google.com. Trace rt google.com. Look at write this one because I want to show you the IP and what's going on. You know, trace rt is trace route. The trace route between me and Google. How many machines are there in between me and Google? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? How can I reach to Google? I'm just trying that one. Look at that. It is going through certain machines. Look at that. It says that, for example, in 10 milliseconds, it has reached to 10, 144, 28. So this might be my own address, my IP address. Then it reaches to another router, then another router, then another router, and then it just keep on moving. And look at that. There will be some point come where this will become, Okay, let's see that. Wonderful. You see that? In 14 hops, these are called hops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know what happened? When I requested google.com, I have to go to all these machines in between. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do you understand what's going on? I'm going from one machine to the other. This is called hopping. Hopping from one machine to the other, to the other, to the other. Ultimately, I get google.com. But you know, google.com has this IP address. Look at that. 142.251.33.174. Does that make sense to everyone? Now I was telling you when I access something from Google, actually I'm accessing this IP address, and in the same way as you are looking. So you remember you are looking at that like that. I'll talk about this 5500 as well. Was that our address, right? So now look at that. 127. So this 127 is actually when I am accessing anything on Google, this is the address which I am trying to access on web. Are you guys getting that one? It means this is an IP address. So when I use my own machine as a server, the IP that I get is what? 127.0.0.1. Does that make sense to everyone? 127.0. And I would like to show you something. So this is how many hops you guys have crossed? Anyone crossed above 14? 9. Wonderful. You are very new to Google. Okay. Anyone else? So these are hoppings, we are passing through. Now, let me tell you something interesting. If I go back to my web page here and I replace it, look at that. Rather not, I will not replace everything. I'll just replace this 127.0.1. Look at that. Still my website is working. You guys understand that one? So again, Google has an IP address, but they ever ask you to remember that IP address? No, they said write google.com. In the same way, you don't need to remember 127.0.0.1. You just remember localhost. It's my machine, localhost. My local host, right? Are you getting that one? So what happens is, the first benefit of this is that now we are running our website from our own machine. My machine is server, my machine is the client, and I'm accessing that over here. Now, listen to this very interesting thing. The other benefit of this is, you should really note that. The other benefit of this is when I come here and I make a change, for example, I remove most of the text and I hit save. Look at that. I don't need to refresh that website. You can see that. Is it automatically happening? So isn't that very interesting to work on your website when you have a live server coming up and you just keep on changing, saving, updates will be there. Yeah.
Does that mean the website content?
Not at all. Still, the website is still, static because, it does not, it includes the server. Remember, it includes the server. It's basically uploaded on server. But content-wise, it will still be the same. If I put anything on that one, so, a static website also resides on server by the way. But the difference was, what best server do some processing before sending it back to you. But here, server will not do any processing. You know what I mean? It will just send you this website. Does that make sense to everyone? Now, who will tell me what is this column 5500? It's port number. It's what? It's port number. Computer has how many ports? Anyway? 65,000 above ports are there on our machine. And we can use those ports for the communication. Mostly we can use, you see 5500, you can have 3,000, you can have 5,000, you can have 7520. We can use 65,000 ports are there. But there are certain ports which are allocated for some particular communication. It's just like same, Toronto Airport. Have you seen that Toronto Airport? You see that there are certain ports or certain gates that are reserved for Air Canada. No other airline can come to those gates. Do you know that? But other than that, all the other gates, airline can come on any gate. Any other airline can come on any other gate. But there are certain which are reserved for Air Canada. Do you guys make sense of it? For example, let's say, I don't know. For example, there are 100 gates on Toronto and 5 gates are, for example, 5 gates are allocated only for Air Canada. So no one can come there. No flight can come on those gates. Does that make sense? But other 95, everyone can come over there. So this is 65,000 ports, and there are primarily 2. There are others as well. Primarily 2 ports which are reserved for certain communication. I'll talk about them. But right now, so whenever we make a server, actually it also tells me which port I am going to. It's just again same like airline environment. When you go to airport, you are said go to 2B04, for example. That is the gate where your flight will depart. So that's the communication way. Is that making sense? So on the computer, we have got all these ports, and these ports will basically allow us to communicate with our platform. Yeah. So how many of you understand this live server now? Do you guys understand this live server? How interesting it is? You just run your website and you make changes in your website. You come here and you make changes. For example, I come here and I make a change and I put an H2 here, something, and I hit save. Just hit save. Look at that. Do you see that that's updated automatically? It's really fun part because now I don't need to go and refresh that to see the output. I just make a change and that change will be visible over there. Does that make sense to everyone? I hope everyone is with me. I hope you are not getting bored, feeling sleepy after having some nice, biryani. Most of the people. Okay, so yeah. All right. So let's talk about this something else. So we have installed two of the extensions, and we have basically we have installed two extensions, and now we know how to effectively run our web page. I'll just say one thing, and then I will stop for the break. We'll take a break. Now that thing is okay. So just a teaser introduction before going. So when you were writing the code, you were required to write a lot of code repetitively, and you did that copying and pasting. But most of you, maybe you know or not, that there are automatic ways of creating codes. Did you guys work on UL, unordered list?
Yes.
Wonderful. And did you create li in between that? Of course.
Yes.
The list items. Remember everyone? Now, I'll tell you something interesting. If you want to make 10 LIs, so you write just li, multiply 10 and hit enter. If you guys have not done that, don't worry. It's just the start. I will tell you lots of shortcuts. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Li into 10. You get 10. And that's not the end of the story. I'll tell you another interesting one. In all those LIs, I want to apply a demo class. You remember you used to make classes for styling? Dot class or dot demo, for example. Remember everyone? I want to attach a class of demo to all LIs as well. No worries. Just write dot demo after that. Dot demo and hit enter. Look at that. Look at the magic. And it does not stop here. I'll give you another hint. That will be again, that will prepare you to for. Now when after adding that, I came to remember, oh, I'm sorry. The last name was not demo, it was demo 1, 2, 3. So now I have to make 10 changings. How would I do that? Let's listen. I will go and click after demo. Just click over here. And now those who are on personal computer, they keep click and hold the Alt key. And those who are on Mac, I can see a lot of people on Mac, your Option key, Alt key or Option key, and just click, don't leave that and click here on the demo. Look at that. I'm clicking after every demo. Do you see that? I've got 10 prompts over here. You see 10 prompts? Now write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do you see that everywhere it is updated? Is that good? Okay.
What do we have to click?
Oh, we have to just go and click after the demo once and then press and hold your Alt key. Press and hold and click on the second demo, third demo, fourth demo. Wherever you click, you will get a prompt over there. Isn't that interesting? And wasn't that you needed a lot when you were working last semester in on your web pages? Rather, you have to go to ChatGPT and say, write down 10 LIs for me. Please don't go there. So, you can do it by yourself. This Visual Studio Code is so wonderful. And I'll tell you last one thing again before the break. If I make Control Z. Another interesting point, listen. If I want to make a div with an ID and class, if I want to make a div with ID and class, how would I do that? For div, you don't even need to write anything. Just write dot demo hash para1. Dot demo hash para1, nothing else. Hit enter. You got div. Is that right? Did you use that?
Yeah, I know that.
You know that, wonderful. But you see that as a class, it was never discussed.
Yeah.
No, that's why I'm just discussing it. And I know a lot of people get bored. You might also be getting bored. You're discussing this. Did you like that? So, this is the auto coding, and there are lots of other features. You would really love to use them. And when you're in website development, you need them a lot. Make sense, everyone? Having said that, I'll take a break here. I hope you need a break as well. So let's take a break and we'll be back in 20 odd minutes, 25 minutes. We'll have some fun break in between 25 minutes and we'll be back with some more fun stuff, right? Thank you very much and enjoy your break. Thank you very much.
No, you.
Yeah. Okay. Demo one. Yeah. For the demo one, the typing, let me do. Okay, I'll tell you. Look at that. So I created a UL. And inside that I said LI into 10. LI into 10. I want to make 10 and I want to add a class of demo. So demo is here. Now you go and click on demo like this, press and hold Alt and keep on clicking. Oh, sorry. I clicked it wrong. Sorry?
New part.
View part?
By shortcut.
Oh, okay. For the div part. Okay, div part. Okay, sorry. For the div part, I've done nothing. Div is a very interesting one. For div, you just write the class name. For example, you write demo and hit enter. You will get a div. And dot demo hash para1. You will get demo and id. Right? Is it good? Wonderful. No problem.